Tonight on Y News, Davao City 1st District Representative Paolo Duterte announces possible bid for speakership in the House of Representatives of the 18th Congress. Some senators seek transparency in President Rodrigo Duterte's verbal deal with Chinese President Xi Jinping to allow Chinese fishers to trawl in Philippine waters. New Information and Communications Technology Secretary Rodrigo Honasan vows to prioritize faster and stable internet connection in the country. And Cebuanos showcased their talent in today's Wishcovery 3 on-ground editions in the province. Good evening. Davao City Representative Paolo Duterte announces his bid for speakership in the 18th Congress. He says he will push for a 4-speaker term sharing. Grace Casan reports why.
Davao City Representative Paolo Duterte is now vying for the speakership position in the House of Representatives. In a statement, he said he will push a term sharing among 4 speakers to be shared by representatives from Mindanao, Visayas, Luzon, and the party list groups. For him, this is the only way to unite Congress. He adds that he hopes those running for the speakership post stop influencing the cabinet. Ruling party Partido Demokratiko Pilipino Lakas ng Bayan or PDP Laban expressed support to Congressman Pulong. PDP Laban National Executive Vice President Congressman Aurelio Gonzales Jr. says Marinduque Representative Lord Alan Velasco is ready to give way for Congressman Pulong.
Nakausap ko na. Basta si Congressman Pulong, siya ang mag-speaker. Lahat kami, nakikong Lord, susuporta kami kay Congressman Pulong.
Congressman Gonzales adds that if the presidential son will seriously run as House Speaker, the race is over, and being a neophyte congressman is not an issue.
Alam mo, yung experience niya rin, naging vice mayor na yan. Ang sigurado, malalaman naman niya yan kasi marami namang mga makakasama si Congressman Pulong.
But Party-less Coalition spokesperson Congressman Alfredo Garbin Jr. states the Speaker must be competent and must have the ability to unite the members of lower chamber. He adds the coalition will meet soon to talk about what will their vote be on the speakership after this development.
It is the professional competence, the integrity, and at the same time yung compassion to the members. And the most important thing is yung skill to deal with the 300 plus members who are coming from diverse backgrounds.
The Visayan bloc will also meet on Monday to discuss Congressman Pulong's proposal of having a speaker from the Visayas. Speaker aspirant later Representative Martin Romualdez has refused to give his comment on the issue. But Albay Representative Joey Salceda, a supporter of Romualdez, says he is confident that Romualdez will also give way for the presidential son. Meanwhile, Speaker aspirant Taguig Representative Alan Peter Cayetano and Davao del Norte Representative Pantalon Alvarez has no statement as of this moment. Grace Casan, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
In connection to Grace Casan's report, Partido Demokratiko Pilipino Lakas ng Bayan or PDP Laban Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III today released a statement saying the ruling party must consider supporting their party mates aspiring to be House Speaker. This after presidential son Davao City Representative Paolo Duterte announced his plan to join the speakership race. Pimentel points out Congressman Pulong is not a PDP Laban member. He adds that the administration party will continue to support their own member in a bid for the House speakership position. The PDP Laban leadership will meet tomorrow to discuss the latest developments. Senator Christopher Bong Go will prioritize institutionalizing the Malasakit Center program among other priority bills. Meanwhile, the senator believes President Rodrigo Duterte will fulfill his statement of resigning if Davao City Representative Paolo Duterte pursues House speakership. Nel Maribohok explains why.
Former Special Assistant to the President and now Senator Christopher Bong Go filed today priority bills which he plans to push for in the coming 18th Congress. Among them are a bill that seeks to institutionalize the Malasakit Center program. and another that seeks the reimposition of death penalty, including heinous crimes that involve illegal drugs as well as the crime of plunder.
Pero titingnan po natin ito. Napakalaki po nung amount na yan. Baka pwede nating babaan pa ng konti. Baka pwedeng 10 million. 1 million para wala nang magnakaw.
Senator Go also answered queries about the issue of the change of heart of Davao City Representative Paolo Duterte regarding the House speakership race. He said that President Rodrigo Duterte will fulfill his statement of resignation if Paolo pursues becoming a House leader.
Knowing the president, kilala ko po siya sa last 21 years. Kung ano pong binitawan na salita ni Pangulong Duterte ay tutuparin niya po yun. Merong isang salita si Pangulong Duterte.
For the neophyte senator, Congressman Paolo is qualified to become a House Speaker. He said if he were a congressman, he would vote Paolo for the House Speakership post. Meanwhile, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo has said the chief executive as well as Congressman Pulong may still change their mind.
Every person has the right to any position if he's qualified and if he's elected. Yeah,
So he's okay to run for speakership.
you cannot prevent people naman from running. Now, it's between the father and the son. Ibang usapan na yun. Pero as a general principle, if you are qualified to run, then you can run.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Newly appointed Department of Information and Communications Technology Secretary Rodrigo Honasan lays out his priority projects. He says he will prioritize faster internet connectivity even in rural areas. Monhok Son will tell us why.
Outgoing Senator Rodrigo Honasan took his oath yesterday as the new Secretary of the Department of Information and Communications Technology. Today is his day one in his new office. On his debut as a DICT Secretary, he led the inauguration of the Free Wi-Fi Connectivity Project at the Quirino Memorial Medical Center. Free Wi-Fi connectivity is part of the DICT's flagship project. This aims to connect government hospitals and public places through the National Broadband Plan.
Gustong makausap nung pasyente dito sa QMMC yung kamag-anak nila sa Mindanao. At gustong makita kung kumusta si tatay, si kuya, di ba? Yung anak nila. Para makita. Reduce the stress of separation through connectivity.
Honasan said that having faster and more stable internet connection is his priority as the new DICT Secretary. And to augment the government's inadequate infrastructure projects, Honasan will also prioritize the so-called infrastructure. For example, he said, a student living in the countryside who walks a mile and even crosses rivers just to go to school, Honasan said this will be resolved through the National Broadband Plan. Honasan pointed out that building 130,000 classrooms will be difficult even with the administration of 5 presidents in the future. This is why the DICT is improving internet connectivity in rural areas even without building classrooms.
We want to render classrooms obsolete. Give him a cheap tablet, then use the barangay hall as a learning center. The lecture will be beamed from the most competent professor in the Philippine Science High School. That will change his life.
Former acting DICT Secretary Eliseo Rio Jr. admitted that his weakness is management. That is why he is pleased with the appointment of the new secretary. Secretary Honasan said he is willing to collaborate with Rio, who is now a DICT Undersecretary and Head of Operations. Honasan also defended the DICT's process in selecting the new third major player in the country.
I think that's unfair to add unwarranted political color to a bidding process that was openly conducted under the supervision of Secretary Rio, with NTC there and NGOs. It was comparatively transparent and fair.
Meanwhile, Honasan shrugged off criticisms against his being the new DICT Secretary. It can be recalled that Honasan had been teased by his colleagues because he uses an analog phone despite the advent of smartphones.
If there are questions about my technical competence, maybe it's up for debate. But I would put these credentials, 44 years of public service on the table, and then let the appointing authority decide. Okay? Pag may problema, di, wag ako.
Honasan said he is ready to step down anytime if President Duterte is not satisfied with the performance of his new duty in the government. Mon Hocson, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Department of Public Works and Highways is confident the completion of several major road projects in Metro Manila may help make the 5-minute travel time in EDSA from Cubao to Makati doable. Joanano tells us why.
Department of Public Works and Highway Secretary Mark Villar is confident that President Rodrigo Duterte's promise of cutting the travel time on EDSA from Cubao to Makati to 5 minutes by the end of this year will happen. The Secretary made a statement during the Pre-State of the Nation Address Economic and Infrastructure Forum yesterday held in Pasay City. Villar said that this is possible once the major road projects in Metro Manila are completed and become operational. Among these projects are the Skyway Stage 3 project, the North Luzon Expressway Harbor Link, and C5 South Link Expressway. The government targets to finish these road projects by the end of this year.
The Skyway, once it's completed, will reduce the traffic count by 100,000. When you finish the connector, that will likely reduce it at least 50,000. When we finish the C6, that will reduce another minimum of 50,000. When we build the bridges across Pasig, yung Santa Monica Loton, that's projected 50,000. The wider Estrella Pantaleon. When all these are finished, we'll be able to bring back EDSA to its former state, which is acceptable in traffic.
The DPWH says that around 200,000 vehicles may be reduced on EDSA and will be diverted to these routes.
Rest assured, this dream of EDSA is not a dream. It's come from the point of inevitability. We will decongest EDSA. And with regards to the 5 minutes, the Skyway from Makati to Quezon City, you can get there in 5 minutes and we'll be delivering 90% of that by this year.
Secretary Villar estimates around 250,000 to 300,000 vehicles should be reduced from EDSA to ease traffic congestion and to achieve the 5-minute travel time target from Cubao to Makati. Based on the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA's record, there were more than 400,000 vehicles on EDSA last year, which is above 288,000 its capacity. The MMDA have earlier said it is a huge challenge for them to attain the 5-minute travel from Cubao to Makati as promised by the President. Even the Philippine National Police Highway Patrol Group are confident that the targeted travel time is possible through stricter enforcement of traffic laws, as well as the proposed transfer of the motorcycle lane beside the bus lane on EDSA. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The public is warned on using skin whitening products which are not approved by the Food and Drug Administration. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Skin whitening products are everywhere. Most of them are sold in grocery stores and even in online shops. For skin whitener user Marcelina, the products she uses remove her wrinkles and make her look younger.
Oo, yun talaga ang gusto nila. Kasi siyempre, sa ibang bansa maputi, tapos tayo sa Pilipinas maitim. Siyempre gusto rin nila gayahin yun.
But like Leia and Rain, believe otherwise.
Mas prefer ko po yung natural na way lang ng paglilinis ng mukha.
Wala po akong ginagamit, especially sa gabi, yung pong sa every night routine. Wala po, talaga naghihilamos lang. Kasi po mas prefer ko po yung parang kusa akong pumuti or wag na gumamit tong mga products na lalo na pag hindi hiyang.
Rhea, on the other hand, is afraid of using any product which is not approved by experts.
Pero pag whitening, medyo nakakatakot kasi siya na baka pag nasira na kasi yung balat mo, baka hindi na pwedeng bumalik sa dati, mas malaki yung damage. Ganun.
For experts, skin whitening products must be approved by the Food and Drug Administration or FDA so that the public may be assured that using them is not risky, just like products with high mercury content.
Nagdi-decrease ng pigmentation yung ating balat, kaya siya ginagamit sa pampaputi. Kaya lang, lalo na kung mataas yung kanyang concentration, isa siyang poison.
Undersecretary Domingo, the acting FDA officer in charge, says this kind of products brings severe effects on women. One can have a kidney disease and neurological problems when often exposed to mercury.
Unang-una, nakaka-irritate siya ng balat. maaaring sumakit yung balat, magkaroon ng mga sugat, magkaroon ng peklat, at maaari din itong problema pag mataas talaga yung concentration, maaari siyang ma-absorb ng katawan ng tao. At kapag buntis pa yung gumagamit, lalo pang delikado kasi maaari pa siyang maka-affect kahit dun sa dinadalang bata.
According to a skin expert, many are deceived by these kinds of skin whitening products, especially when the label and product contents are not read carefully.
Consult first your dermatologist. The problem nowadays is kung ano-anong products po ang naglalabasan, minsan walang labels or minsan hindi natin alam kung anong mga ingredients na nandito na maaring harmful sa ating skin. And especially nowadays, my advice to my patients is to be able for them to read labels.
Dr. Kathy also points out that it is but natural for Filipinos to be dark-skinned because of the climate in the country.
We live in a tropical country. So itong melanin or itong kulay natin is actually our protection. At swerte po tayo dahil sa balat po natin, it doesn't cause burning. So maganda siya talaga. It protects us from skin cancer. It protects us from other illnesses caused by the sun.
The doctor also advises the public to consult a dermatologist or an expert before using a product to be safe. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Cebuanos take part in the Wishcovery Season 3 on-ground editions in the province, which begins today. Gladys Toyabi will tell us why.
Wishcovery begins its search for fresh singer-songwriters in Central Visayan Province, Cebu. Locals from all over the province came for day one of the Wishcovery Season 3 on-ground editions. Dubbed as Wishcovery Originals, this season of the biggest online singing competition in the Philippines is out to discover solo acts, duos, and groups to both sing and write their own songs. Among today's auditionees is college professor Jem Yero. Jem, who started playing the guitar at 10, said that she dreams of becoming a singer someday.
That dream in my heart has never died, so that's why I'm still pursuing it, even when I know I might just have a slim chance of, being accepted here. It was actually a great experience. It is because it has been my dream to be able to sing in Wish Balls.
Even Ray G. Albino did not let the day pass without taking the chance to perform and give what is got the second time around. He joined Wishcovery Season 1 but failed to advance to the finals.
Well, it's definitely very pleasing experience. It's something I would remember. Like, it just feels like while you're playing your song and you're given a chance to play inside a bus and all this equipment, it feels like time is like running a little slower. So I thank you for that.
Even Romel Pantino and Range Andrew Salera grabbed the opportunity to be Wishcovered. The duo hope that Wishcovery Originals will be the stepping stone to reach their dream. And with the aim to promote Visayan music, the Glotter Boys say they will continue to perform and write their original songs.
Para nako, music is dying na jud. The true music is dying. Aim na mo is para matap diri sa Cebu and to help the music industry rabod kay usually Bisaya music is kind of low quality right now, so we need to lift up music industry.
More and more Cebuanos come to take part in this one-of-a-kind event in the province. The Wishcovery Originals on-ground edition in Cebu runs until July 4th. Registration is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Plaza Independencia, Cebu City. Gladys Tuwabi, UNTV News and Rescue, Cebu.
Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carapio inhibits from the case that tackles the writ of kalikasan for the West Philippine Sea. For the magistrate, this move is for the peace of mind of Solicitor General Jose Calida, who asks for his exclusion from judging the petition. Maya Bermudez will tell us why.
Supreme Court Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio will not take part in tackling and deciding on the writ of kalikasan case for the protection of the West Philippine Sea. Before the oral arguments even started earlier, Justice Carpio voluntarily excluded himself from the case.
The NBank accepted the voluntary inhibition of Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio from the case of Abogado et al. Versus DENR et al.
Carpio says even if there's no compulsory ground for him to inhibit, he voluntarily did it for Solicitor General Jose Calida's peace of mind. Calida has earlier asked for Carpio's inhibition due to his alleged partiality to China and for actively pronouncing and defending the disputed seas. Justice Carpio is part of the legal team who claimed the victory at the International Tribunal against China's claim of certain areas within the West Philippine Sea in the country's exclusive economic zone.
We thank him for inhibiting because for reasons that he's already he knows already all the facts about this case because it was the West Philippine Sea arbitration and it was part of the legal team of the Philippines.
Malacanang meanwhile distances from Justice Carpio's decision.
If he feels it's proper kasi he inhibited himself. If he didn't think it's proper, he would have not.
In the petition filed by the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, Zambales Fisherfolks and Palawan Farmers and Fisherfolks Association, they are asking the court to order the government to protect the marine resources in the West Philippine Sea from alleged destruction of Chinese fishing vessels. According to one of the petitioner's lawyers, they respect Justice Carpio's decision.
Well, nasa sa kanya talaga yon. And ang pagkakilala ko kay Justice Carpio ay talagang he pays attention to delicadeza.
Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Supreme Court conducts oral arguments on the petition seeking to protect mischief and Ayungin reefs and the Scarborough Shoal in the West Philippine Sea. From Manila, Mai Bermudez will tell us why live. Yes, Mai, go ahead.
Diego, the Supreme Court is done with the day one of the oral arguments on the petition seeking to protect the country's marine resources in the West Philippine Sea. Several issues were raised, including whether an issuance of writ of kalikasan is the proper legal remedy to address this, whether there is an enforcement of laws in the disputed territory, and why former government officials are not included as respondents in the case. Justice Andres Reyes Jr. asked if authorities are present in the area.
So, if you look at the management of a country, don't you think the Philippines has complied with enforcement if they have already stationed soldiers in that area? Those soldiers' job is to guard. So, placing a guard there or a soldier is already enforcement of our border laws because they're there to protect. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Enforcement requires many actions, including the prosecution of the criminal violations, Your Honor.
No, but we're just asking about enforcement, all right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So the government has complied with enforcing our border laws or island laws, whatever laws you're quoting.
The petition covers the destruction of corals and other marine resources in Scarborough Shoal, Ayungin, and Mischief Reefs found in Zambales and Palawan respectively in years 2012, 2013, and 2014. The Integrated Bar of the Philippines and fisher folks from the area say they want the government to prosecute and investigate those behind the destruction. But Justice Hernando asked, why are former officials excluded from the list?
And you are alleging negligence or omissions by our officials, then the officials concerned would not only be with reference to those who are sitting now, but even those who sat in the past administration.
Yes, Your Honor.
Including then Secretary of Justice Alfredo Benjaminez Caguioa.
The respondents, Your Honor, are the offices and therefore whoever would be the incumbents at the time.
Diego, on July 9, it's time for the government to present their side. Solicitor General Jose Calida will then present the government's case. Diego?
Thank you, Maya Bermudez, reporting live from Manila. The Department of Justice maintains the Philippine National Police can't arrest the impeachment complaints of President Rodrigo Duterte. April Senadosa tells us why.
The Philippine National Police, or PNP, will arrest those who will file an impeachment complaint against President Rodrigo Duterte should the chief executive order it and find violation of the law. While filing of impeachment complaint is not against the law, PNP Chief Director General Oscar Albayalde says complainants could be charged for rebellion or sedition. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara is certain the PNP cannot arrest the impeachment complainants of the president.
In situations where an unlawful act is not being committed in the first place, so there will be no legal basis for any arrest. So the question before us now is filing a complaint for impeachment an unlawful act? And well, my answer to that question is certainly no.
Legal expert attorney Glenn Subilla meanwhile affirms Guevara's comment. In a text message, the lawyer maintains filing an impeachment complaint against the president is not a crime. Subilla says the police must secure first an arrest warrant from the court before arresting anyone, except if the perpetrators are violating the law. April Senadosa, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Malacanang expressed support for Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara, saying impeachment proponents cannot be arrested. The palace maintained that anybody has the right to file an impeachment complaint against the president. According to presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo, President Rodrigo Duterte's statement about ordering the arrest of impeachment proponents was only an expression of disgust against critics of the government's position on the West Philippine Sea issue. Panelo also clarified that filing an impeachment complaint is not unconstitutional.
Ibig sabihin, kung may violation kayo, pero mere filing is not. Hindi naman yan ang gusto sabihin ng Presidente. Hindi, sabi ni PNP kung meron kayong violation.
Attorney Benedict Malcontento officially assumes his post as Prosecutor General today. He replaces retired Prosecutor General Victor Sepulveda, who took his early retirement in 2017. The lawyer has been active in litigation practice for 25 years before President Rodrigo Duterte appointed him. He graduated from San Beda College of Law, the same as the president. As Prosecutor General, he will supervise the National Prosecution Service of the Department of Justice. He says he will be active in the prosecution of cases. Prices of basic commodities are volatile, and Filipinos, especially those who struggle to earn money every day, are the ones who are being hit by the impact of high prices. How do some of our kababayans keep up with the highs and lows of prices? Harleen Delgado has this report.
The country's faster inflation made headlines for several months last year. But what is the real impact of the higher prices of basic commodities on ordinary Filipinos, especially those who consider themselves poor? Here at the stretch of the Baywalk along Rojas Boulevard, we met 20-year-old Jonasin Canlapan, who also lives around here. Taking care of his mini store, Jonasin says he can spend only 50 pesos a day for his food to manage his small earnings.
Pananghali yan. Bibili ako ng isang tig na 10 ulam na gulay. Tapos kanin 10. Ganon din po. 30 na hanggang tanghali. Hanggang gabi naman. Ganon. 10 pesong ulam. 10 pesong kanin. Ganon. Makatulog na ako yun.
Mang Dominic has the same sentiment. The 61-year-old Baywalk vendor says his family can't save up as all of their money goes to food expenses when things get really rough.
Pero sa totoo lang, ang kinikita namin dito, halos nakakasurvive, nakakabili po kami ng 25 na gulay, 10 pesos na rice. Tapos kung gusto mo naman ng medyo masarap-sarap, 50 pesos, ganon.
On the average, a poor Filipino spends 50 pesos up to 300 pesos daily for food. This is equivalent to the toll on the Skyway or 6 liters of premium gasoline for a private vehicle. According to the latest Social Weather Station survey, the median self-rated poverty threshold, or the monthly budget that a Filipino household needs for home expenses in order for them not to be considered poor in general, is 10,000 pesos. Meanwhile, the median self-rated food poverty threshold, or the monthly budget that a food-poor household needs for food expenses in order not to consider their food as poor, is at 5,000 pesos. These figures, if compared, are not the same from what ordinary Filipinos are earning, just like Jonasin, a mini store owner, and Dominic, a simple vendor. All they are asking from the government, especially to the newly elected mayor of City of Manila, is to secure their livelihood and give equal rights and opportunities. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
True to his promise, Manila City Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Domagoso signed today his first executive order which seeks to implement an open government policy under his administration. Under the order, the mayor orders all city government issuances to be published on the official media platforms of the city within 24 hours upon issuance and/or approval. All city government departments are tasked to designate the respective social media officers to create their accounts on Facebook and Twitter, where they are expected to post updates on their programs, projects, and activities. Domagoso has also instructed new city government leaders to get feedback for the implementation of policies and programs. The City Public Information Officer has been designated as the lead officer in ensuring the order is enforced. The Bureau of Immigrations continue their call to the public to help them in their crusade against illegal workers in the country by filing and reporting complaints. Arlene Delgado will tell us why.
Hiding their faces is the only thing these Chinese nationals can do for now, after they were arrested by the Bureau of Immigration, or BI, last week. Together with 8 other nationalities, the 97 Chinese nationals were nabbed, while 1 minor was rescued by the Bureau in a call center in Biñan, Laguna, after a complaint from a concerned citizen. According to Bureau of Immigration spokesperson Dana Sandoval, they found out that the foreign nationals were working without visa.
Well, ito po ay isang business process outsourcing company, isa pong BPO, and then ang kanila pong business ay online. So upon checking po ng ating intelligence division, wala po silang working visa nung sila po ay nagtrabaho dito. And dito po sa 106 na ito, isa po ay menor de edad pa.
The BI says they are arranging the deportation charges against the arrested foreign nationals. The Bureau adds an interagency task force has been formed together with the Department of Labor and Employment and other government agencies to intensify efforts and streamline roles and responsibilities in monitoring foreign nationals in the country. On the other hand, Director Dominic Tutay of the Labor Department's Bureau of Local Employment reports that not all foreign nationals who are working in the construction industry in the country are illegal.
Yung po kasing cases po ng projects po on bridges, these are grants coming from China, and the Chinese workers there do not receive salary here in the country. So, dun po sa China nang gagaling yung sweldo po nila.
The BI calls on the public to help them out in their crusade against illegal foreign workers by reporting information or complaints to the Bureau.
Kung sila po ay may alam na mga illegal aliens, mga foreign nationals po na nagtatrabaho po ng walang tamang permit at visa, i-report po natin yan sa immigration. Napakalaki pong tulong ang inyong mga reports dahil agad-agad po napipinpoint po natin kung nasaan itong mga illegal aliens na to upang agad po nating mahuli at mapadeport.
Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Some senators believe the agreement made verbally between President Rodrigo Duterte and Chinese President Xi Jinping on fishing in the West Philippine Sea cannot be considered a formal agreement 3 years ago. Nel Marie Buhok will tell us why.
Some senators doubt the power of the alleged verbal agreement between President Rodrigo Duterte and Chinese President Xi Jinping on fishing in the West Philippine Sea in 2016. For Senator Panfilo Lacson, the agreement cannot be part of the government's policy. He says there is no showing that the Foreign Affairs Department as well as the Department of National Defense are implementing that so-called verbal agreement. And in fact, on occasion, the two frontline agencies have expressed a different view. It is said that under the agreement, Chinese fishing is allowed in the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Presidential spokesman Salvador Panelo has even said that because of the agreement, Filipino fishermen are allowed in the Panatag or Scarborough Shoal, which China strictly patrols. For Senate President Vicente Sotto III, such agreement cannot be considered as a formal one. He argues that based on the Constitution, any treaty or international agreement the Philippine government enters must be with the Senate's approval. On the other hand, for Senator Franklin Drilon, a former Justice Secretary, it's hard to tell if the verbal agreement between President Duterte and Xi is ground for impeachment.
Tell me, if it is a ground for impeachment, how do you prove a verbal agreement? In this case, the primary evidence would either be a document signed or a verbal testimony. There is no document.
Meanwhile, the senators say they have expected China to refuse a third-party probe on the Rectobank maritime incident.
Remember, they're claiming this as their territory. For them to agree to a third-party arbiter would derogate on their claim.
But for Senator Ralph Recto, there is no need for a third or even a second party to investigate the incident. He points out that although it is hard to stop Chinese fishing in the Philippines EEZ, it is the government job to protect the Filipinos in the zone. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
In Mexico, 6 suburbs in the Mexican city of Guadalajara were carpeted in a thick layer of ice after a heavy hailstorm. The ice was up to 5 feet thick in places, half burying vehicles. Civil protection machinery was deployed to clear streets in the city of 5 million, located north of the capital, Mexico City. Local officials also reported flooding and fallen trees, but no one is thought to have been hurt. In Spain, wildfires raging in the Madrid region were contained on Monday but remained active after burning over 8,000 acres in Cenicientos and Cadalso de los Vidrios. The acting regional president of Madrid said that situation had improved, although work remained to be done before the blaze could be declared stabilized. The risk level on Monday was reduced from level 2 to level 1, authorities said, in scale of 1 to 3, with 3 being the most severe. No homes had been affected, but that small structures such as barns and stables had been reached by the flames. The blaze began near the city of Toledo and spread to Cenicientos and Cadalso de los Vidrios on Friday. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue.
An all-electric ice cream van is serving up a zero-emission solution for vendors looking to reduce their carbon footprint. And others say it is totally a guilt-free dessert. Niña Armilio tells us why.
Traditional British ice cream vans have been criticized for producing harmful emissions when their engines are left running to keep the freezers cooled and serve customers. But an electric concept hopes to overcome the issue in towns and cities in Britain looking to ban or restrict diesel-powered ice cream vans. The van is an ENV 200, 100% electric van and operates without an internal combustion engine and is free of any emissions, taking away any added guilt that comes with an ice-cool treat. The onboard equipment, like the chillers and soft-serve machine, are powered by a battery recycled from first-generation electric cars, providing a sustainable second life for the company's older lithium-ion cells.
We put solar panels on the roof so that when it's stationary on a sunny day like this, it's recharging the batteries all the time. We've also put some mobile energy storage units in the vehicle to add up to increase the amount of battery storage it's got. And these are called energy roam system. And these are essentially old used leaf batteries that we've recycled.
I would give them an ice cream cone. It would be guilt-free coming up to a lovely, clean, environmental dispensing ice cream van like this.
According to its manufacturer, the electric vending van certainly has a lot of potential to expand to other markets. Perhaps one day, multitude food carts will come in the guise of these eco-friendly alternatives. Nino Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
15-year-old Corey Gauff defeated 5-time Wimbledon champion Venus Williams in the first round of the event. World number 313 Gauff, who needed a wild card in qualifying, beat 39-year-old Williams at 6-4, 6-4 on her debut. Coco makes history by becoming the youngest player in the Open era to reach the main draw via qualifying. The team thanks Williams for being her inspiration in the sport. The young pro shares that Venus and her sister Serena are the reasons she picked up the tennis racket. And those are the reasons behind the news this July 20, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar, I'm Angelo Castro III. And before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Every person has the right to any position. If he's qualified and if he's elected, yeah.
So he's okay to run for speakership?
You cannot prevent people naman from running. Now, it's between the father and the son. Ibang usapan na yun. Pero as a general principle, if you're qualified to run, then you can run.
Knowing the president, kilala ko po siya sa last 21 years. Kung ano pong binitawan na salita ni Pangulong Duterte, ay tutuparin niya po yun. Merong isang salita si Pangulong Duterte.
If it is a ground for impeachment, how do you prove a verbal agreement? In this case, the primary evidence would either be a document signed or a verbal testimony. There is no document.
This dream of EDSA is not a dream. It's come from the point of inevitability. We will decongest EDSA. And with regards to the 5 minutes, the Skyway from Makati to Quezon City, you can get there in 5 minutes, and we'll be delivering 90% of that by this year.